Welcome back to Chessbox Worldwide. I'm opening this week with another interesting game played between Silva David from Angola and Cawdery Daniel from South Africa during the 2017 Africa Individual Chess Championship, which took place in Algeria. David Silva is an international master from Angola who is a three-time Africa Junior Champion. He's 19 and already has 2 GM noms. He almost beat GM Levon Aronian in the Chennai Chess Olympiad 2022 during the Angola vs USA match in round 1, but the game ended up in a draw. Daniel Cawdery is a South African chess player who was awarded the International Master title by FIDE in 2014. He won the South African Chess Championship twice and has played for South African Chess Olympiad team since 1998. Daniel qualified for the 2017 Chess World Cup, where he was defeated by the eventual winner GM Levon Aronian in the first round. He has also played in the Chess World Cup 2023, where he was defeated by GM Cristobal Henriquez Vigra from Chile in the first round. In the white pieces, David Silva from Angola played e4 and Cawdery Daniel from South Africa played c5, the Sicilian defense. Knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and after knight comes to f6, we see knight c3. If black plays s6, this one can take us the Sicilian knight off, and if black plays g6, this one takes us the Sicilian dragon. For example, in case of s6, then f3, and after e5, knight comes to b3, bishop e6, and after bishop comes to e3, h5, stopping any further advancements. I can tell you white is going to be fighting against black, and it's going to be a death match in this game. Let's go back. After knight c3, Daniel played g6, bring us the Sicilian dragon, bishop e3, and in this position, in case of knight g4, is a blunder because of bishop b5 check. There are 2 pieces which you can try to block, knight or bishop. In case of knight c6, then knight takes c6, and after b takes c6, bishop takes c6, checking the king and winning the rook. Let's go back. After bishop b5, in case of bishop comes d7, is a pure blunder because of queen takes g4, and I can tell you white is a piece up. Let's go back. After bishop e3, bishop g7, continuing with development. f3, planning to go ahead and push these kingside pawns, and then queen comes to d2, bishop comes c4, and you could say that all is going to be a fighting game. So we see short castling from black, queen d2, plan to go ahead for long castling, knight c6, and now long castling. So here, black played the potential move, which is d5, very powerful move. White, you are forced to take the pawn. For example, after e takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes c6, b takes c6, knight takes d5, c takes d5, and after queen takes d5, queen c7, planning to bring the bishop to sit on f5 and attack the pawn which is on c2. Queen comes to c5, challenging the queen. Queen goes to b7, attacking the pawn which is on b2. You see that the bishop and the queen are attacking the pawn which is on b2. b3, and after bishop comes to f5, planning to bring the rook on c8 and attack the queen. Queen comes to b5, and in this position, black will sacrifice the queen and will play rook c8. In case of queen takes, then the rook is going to take the pawn which is on c2. So we could say rook d2, queen c7, bishop c4, bishop goes to e6, bishop takes e6, queen c3, attacking the bishop and willing to go ahead and play queen a1 check, which is going to be checkmate, king d1, queen check, king e2, queen takes h, and then bishop takes c8, queen takes g2 check, bishop f2, rook takes c8, and I can tell you the game is still equal. Let's go back. After d5, Silva played dubious move. He played queen e1. This made Daniel play d5, challenging the knight, and after knight takes, pawn takes, now we see the potential pawn d4 is coming in. So we see pawn takes, and in this position, there is pawn takes and knight takes, but knight takes is the best move. If pawn takes, for example, if c takes d5, then bishop g5, you see that now the queen is attacking the pawn, the rook and the knight are attacking the pawn, and in case of any pawn advances, then the queen will take the pawn which is on d5. So we could see queen b6, bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, knight takes d5, queen g5 check, and after king goes to b1, e4, opening up for the bishop diagonal. F takes e4, rook comes to e8, pinning the pawn against the queen. Bishop c4, planning to bring the bishop to b3. Rook b8, bishop b3, queen takes g2, queen f5, queen takes e4, then rook e1. I can tell you white is going to be winning this one. Let's go back. After pawn takes d5, Daniel played the best move. He played knight takes d5. In this position, pawn h4 should have been considered, and after queen c7, pawn h5 should have been played. This could give white a promising attack. Let's go back. Knight takes d5. He played bishop c5. Daniel played a very strong move. He played bishop h6 check, bring the king to b1, and now the knight is going to take knight c3 in check. King b1, knight takes knight on c3, b takes c3, then we see rook b8 with a direct check. We see now king goes to a1, then we see queen a5, attacking the pawn. At the same time, the bishop is going to fall back and put more emphasis and pressure on the pawn, which is on c3. Bishop b4, queen f4, and took the rook, but however, bishop c4 should have been considered, and after rook takes b4, c takes b4, queen c2, bishop comes to b3, queen takes g2, queen g3, queen e2, rook e1. This position is a promising one, and white could go on and play. But however, after queen f4, he played bishop takes rook on f8, giving up the black bishop. Remember, all the dark squares are weak, and now you're giving up the black bishop. This gave Daniel a huge advantage. He played bishop e6, threatening checkmate in 1 on a2, c4, defending the checkmate, rook takes f8. Pawn comes to c3, should have been considered, but he played bishop d3, bishop g7. Now we are planning to give up a pawn, and then we check and take a piece. c3 is played, and queen f4. The threat is pawn comes to e4, and now we can say the bishop is going to take the pawn, supported by the queen, which is on f5, and then they are going to win the queen. That's why in this position you see rook c1, and then rook b8. In case of rook b1 challenging the rook, then we could see rook comes to d8, attacking the bishop, which is on d3. Bishop goes to e4, bishop takes c4, resurrecting back the threat of the checkmate, rook b2 and f5, and I can tell you white will be busted. Let's go back. That's why after rook b8, white tried rook f1, trying to bring all the pieces in the game. e4, opening up for the bishop. Now we see f takes e4, and now a strong move of the game, rook b3, attacking the pawn, which is on c3, at the same time trying to bring the rook on a3, attacking the pawn, which is on a2. We see a5, he played rook a3. Now he's very ready to take the pawn, which is on e5. Rook comes to f2, defending the pawn, which is on a2. Bishop takes e5. Now he has opened up another threat to take the pawn on c3. And in this position, he played rook c2. And Daniel played a very strong move. He played bishop takes c3. And you have to give up the queen. For example, if queen takes c3, rook takes c3, rook takes c3, queen e5, h3, defending the pawn, bishop d7, king b2, c5. At least this is a playable game you could fight on, because now he has two rooks. For the queen, the game could be playable. But after bishop takes c3, he played rook takes c3, and this gave Daniel huge advantage. Rook takes a2 check, and after king comes to b1, white resigned the game because of the next moves which we're going to be foreseeing, because of queen comes to f4, cutting off the running squares of the king, and next move is rook comes to a1. If you play a move, for example, rook d1, then rook a1 check, and after king b2, queen a2 would be a checkmate. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your games.